Now joined by Enworld Development Manager and Consultant Michelle Nyandiko to give us insights of this particular findings. A very good afternoon to you, Michelle, and thank you very much for joining us on Business Insight.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
All right. Now, Michelle, first things first. How important is it to have a pension plan in place of oneself before retirement?
It is extremely important. In fact, it should really be everyone's right for you to be able to work and then at the time you retire, have an income. Without a pension plan, many Kenyans find themselves facing old age poverty because they didn't plan, and maybe they just didn't know how to plan. Yes.
All right. According to what I've just read, only one in seven Kenyans has a pension plan.
Yeah.
Now, paint for us how badly this picture looks.
What it really means is you're working and you don't have the information on how to plan, or maybe you don't think about it just because of human nature. You're young, you don't think retirement will come. So people tend to think about retirement in their 40s.
Yeah, you don't think you'll grow old.
Yes, yes. So what then ends up happening is in old age, people face a myriad of difficulties from meeting their needs to being able to meet their healthcare needs. And even in some cases, you find it even goes to the extent that you don't even have a house. And so there's a lot of problems when it comes to poverty in old age.
All right. Yeah. And we have economists who are warning that the pension crisis will grow more acute because the government has delayed plans to have civil servants contribute monthly to a fund that will pay for their retirement. Your opinion?
Well, it is important. Once we have the civil service contributing to a pension fund, that brings in a huge group of Kenyans. But one area that this research did cover is the retirement confidence for those who are already working and those who will contribute into such plans as those. And it's pointed out that there's going to be a need to reevaluate how we manage educating people who are in these pension funds. It came out that they are Kenyans, in our peculiar nature, they're very specific attributes we have. For example, people are investing in a lot of other things and not in pension. People are investing hugely in land, for example, across all ages, and not in their pensions. So there's need to educate people. We also found that among organizations, just about 50% of people receive employer information on retirement planning and saving. So there's a need for more of these to educate young people, okay, so that they're able to put aside money for their pension, not just invest in land and real estate.
And real estate and,
yes.
And buying cars and everything
and
else.
buying cars, and yes.
But how do you think that will work, though?
Actually,
how is it that you're going to sit down and convince, or maybe let's say even a 23-year-old, that listen, you need to save up money because one day you're going to grow old?
It starts by sensitization.
All right.
Whether done by employers or by individuals just seeking to get this information on their own. But it starts with sensitization. So our role in the financial services sector is to make sure this information is there for the young people, that they're able to know that they can put aside money in a retirement benefit scheme, that it is a safe way, it earns them great returns, and that as you grow older, you need to make investments that are in line with your needs, so that you don't retire with a whole bunch of land and you're very asset rich but very cash poor when you can't really
and the older you grow, the more even the body does not allow you to do some things. Anyway, so what are the main statutes and regulations that are relating to pensions and retirement plans?
All right, the statutes in terms of the governance framework that has been set is a very robust one. It's good because today you as an individual can be able to put aside money for your retirement. You as an SME with 3 or 4 employees are able to put aside money for your retirement in an individual pension plan or an umbrella pension plan.
In a group?
As a group,
Wow.
yes,
Okay.
and then individual as a group and at no cost to you. So it's not expensive to plan for retirement. It's not expensive to put aside money for your retirement, and you can put in as little as you want. And even for those in the informal sector, there is a pension scheme that has been sponsored by the Retirement Benefits Authority. So every Kenyan has that opportunity. The issue is, do they know about it? Are employers putting out that information to their employees? Because it is just as important as work. I mean, you don't need to work, and then when you leave work, you have nothing to go home to. It is very important, so employers need to put that information. And for those of us in the financial services sector, we need to also embrace ICT more to be able to educate these people on, especially the young people. Because our research did show that young people do want to invest.
They do want to invest.
Yes.
And another thing, maybe, speaking as a young person, I am young, whether they like it or not, I refuse. Now, the thing about young people, maybe it's due to the fact that you don't want to put money somewhere, and it looks like that, it's almost like you're putting money to waste. You understand? So maybe that's why it would be a problem to try and have the young people on board, because it's almost like you're trying to tell me, listen, Nina, take this money, put it here, and don't worry, in future, it's going to help you. What future? It's very hard for, exactly, it's very hard for a young person to see beyond here. So that's why I was asking, how exactly are you going to sit a 22 or a 23-year-old down and convince them, you have a good job, but listen, you need to think about the future. Young people hardly ever think about the future. Anyway, that aside, what is the framework for taxation on pensions?
Well, when you contribute to a pension scheme, it greatly reduces what you pay as tax, because the contributions that you put towards your pension are then deducted before tax is calculated. So, for example, I'm earning 100,000 and I contribute 20,000 shillings to a pension scheme. It then means that only 80,000 from my salary will face pay tax. That greatly reduces the amount of tax that I pay. I think more than just about any other investment in this country. And that's there to encourage people to save for their retirement.
All right, that's very impressive. So how is the state of the pension calculated? And that you've just explained, when it comes to what factors may cause the pension to be enhanced or reduced?
What the factors that make your pension enhanced is how long you save for. And that is why pension is actually for young people. The longer you save, the more you earn in terms of investment returns. And it comes to a point where you'll be earning more returns than even the contributions you're putting in. So time is a very important factor in enhancing how much you have for retirement. Of course, the amount you put aside, it is very important that people intentionally set aside a portion of their income towards retirement or towards their long-term savings. So the amount you put in, the income it earns, and of course, how you manage the rest of your finances is also a big contributor, because you do have other investments.
Which is very true. Say, I want you to give me an answer for this. I'm putting my family into perspective right now. You've spoken about an individual planning for their future when it comes to matters pension, and also an umbrella of employees. And case in point, I'm the last born in our family. I'm working. And so I have another 4 in front of me, plus my mom. We can put my mom aside. So 5 of us. Can we check in as a family and get a pension scheme, pension plan?
You can have the 5 of you individuals, isn't it? Because I don't think your brother, say, would want you eating his pension.
So how does it work with the employees? With
the employees, you come together as a group and you contribute. And your employer could then also contribute for you. So that's where it works in for employees. But otherwise, you enjoy the benefit as an individual in retirement.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So it's about the employer's contribution, so to say.
Yes.
All right. So is the state pension designed to provide a certain level of replacement income to workers who have worked continuously until retirement age?
Yes. Yes, the state, case in point is the proposed NSSF contributions. The goal is to replace your salary with a monthly pension at the end, okay? And the target for NSSF was targeting to replace approximately 40 to 50% of your salary. But ideally, retirement planning is your own individual prerogative.
Yeah.
Yes. You determine what kind of retirement.
You make it a priority.
Yes. What kind of retirement you want to have.
Okay. And what restrictions or prohibitions limit an employer's ability to exclude certain employees from participation in the retirement plans?
In fact, any employer, when setting up the fund, would have to set it up for all. You shouldn't. You're not allowed to discriminate.
Okay.
And those are some of the protections that come within the legislative framework we have in Kenya. So when you set up a scheme for your employees, you make it uniform for all your employees, because ideally all of them are entitled to retire well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are the considerations regarding employees working permanently and temporarily overseas?
For those who are working overseas, they are still able to contribute towards a pension here. And that gives them the security to come back after several years of toiling wherever they are abroad. Their money will earn investment returns. That is probably much better than what they would earn out there. So it's a good way to safely have your money in Kenya.
Just to give an example,
institutions.
Miguna has gone to Canada now.
Yes.
He's going to be in Ottawa. We don't know for how long.
Yes.
Can he have a pension plan?
Oh yes, he can have a pension plan back in Kenya. As I said, anyone out there can be able to enjoy. And a good case would be the person who has just won that M-Pesa lottery. Yeah, through a pension arrangement, he can be assured of an income for the rest of his life.
All right.
Yeah.
And are there any regulations, or do they follow the same laws that we follow? Or there's a bit different?
Follow the same laws that we follow. In fact, we as NWealth, we have registered a fund specifically for people in the diaspora, and they do enjoy a tax exemption from transferring the money that they have saved where they are in the UK, putting it back in Kenya. So it's actually a very good thing to do.
All right. And Michelle, what retirement and death benefits are customarily provided to employees or beneficiaries?
Upon death, if you've been making a saving, upon death there is some relief to your dependents.
Okay.
In the form of the savings that you have made, and also in the form of life insurance that kicks in when somebody dies. So upon the death of a saver, there are most likely going to be two benefits: the pension savings and life insurance that is promised by many pensions funds.
Are there mandatory rules that rules with respect to the death benefits?
In terms of what the law requires when somebody passes on and they had been making a saving, is that the benefits are paid to the beneficiaries who the saver had indicated they would like to receive their benefits.
All right.
And sometimes we find you have pass on and your benefits are minors. So the pension fund is able to continue saving this money for the minor and take care of their education. Yeah.
So after saving in the pension fund and following the pension plan, when can one retire and enjoy the benefits?
Well, that's the beauty about having a saving, is then when retirement comes, either by retirement age or voluntarily, you have the money to take care of you.
Oh.
You could either retire because of age, but the reality of the world today is a lot of times people are forced to retire before age 50. And if you have a pension, at least you have a fallback position and you have a guaranteed income.
How young can you allow someone to retire and enjoy those benefits?
Retirement is ideally when you leave work, and now your work is to live out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you choose as an individual. Many employers also set a retirement age. Okay, For many, it's any age between 50 and 60.
Yeah.
Yes. But what we're telling you is if you plan, you can actually retire at what age works for you. Yes.
But it has consequences if you retire while you're quite young.
It does. The biggest consequence is the impact it has on your finances. So that's one of the biggest determinant. And our study showed that the longer people work, the less confident they become to retire.
Yeah, because once you work somewhere, you become more comfortable. And when people retire, actually, you tend to feel, that's when things like depression check in.
Yeah.
You start feeling weak, you start feeling like you're not understanding yourself because you spend, so many researchers show that you spend most of your time at work. So when you pull that away from your life, it affects you definitely.
Yes. And that is what the study on retirement confidence you were doing was about. What are the things that are making people feel confident to retire? So what you're talking about does happen, and it is because of poor financial literacy going on around us. If I understand what I need to do to be able to prepare to retire, and then I also understand how to save for that retirement and how much I need, if I'm able to estimate my costs in retirement, if me and my spouse are able to understand the issues that will affect us and how to plan for those, then I'm likely to retire more confidently.
Yeah, you retire more confidently, without fear.
Yes.
All right. And in what circumstances may members transfer their benefits to another pension?
Yes, pensions are also very flexible. So I am able to work in a company, and when I leave work and go to another company, I should ideally move my pensions to that other retirement scheme or to a personal scheme. So it's very portable.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think my last question to you, as Endwealth, how exactly are you working to make sure that this pension schemes and Martyrs retirement are going out there? How hard are you working to make sure there's visibility and you have the young, the middle age, and the young and the middle age? Once you're old, it's very hard to plan for a pension scheme. What are you doing to make sure that people out there understand this?
One is we are collaborating with different professional bodies to make sure that people get this information about retirement planning in the workplace. And one of those collaborations is with the Institute of Human Resource Management to make sure that HRs are empowered to give this information to their employees. And we carry out very innovative financial planning seminars, and we do this all over the country. And what we're doing in financial literacy is to incorporate the use of ICT to be able to use videos so that we can relate with the younger generation. And also in the way that you deliver the information, we are putting in issues like investments, not just retirement savings, but investments to make somebody understand holistically, how do I plan my life?
All right.
Yeah.
And what are you hoping to achieve after all this?
We want people to be able to retire and live with dignity in retirement. So just not putting aside a very small amount without a goal. Your savings should really have a goal towards it.
Do you have your achievements in numbers, your goals in numbers?
Oh yes. Oh yes. We would like to drive up the number of people who are currently contributors. I believe just about 20% of working age Kenyans are enrolled in retirement benefit schemes. So we'd like to see that number reverse. Let it be that 80% of working age Kenyans.
All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much.